Welcome to Women's Sports Weekly, where women's sports happen every day, but we talk about it once a week. I'm Danielle.
And I'm Carolyn. Women's Sports Weekly is a podcast where we discuss the latest news, explore interesting stories, and share our love for women's sports. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at Women's Sports Weekly Pod. Follow us and rate us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Send us an email at womensportsweeklypod@gmail.com, and we may feature your email on our listener experience zone, The Les. If you've been on our socials lately, you probably saw a video.
What video are you referring to? We post a lot of videos.
Before we get into this, I do just have to say the feedback that we received on our episode last week with Dr. Anna Bath and Ellie Rocher has just been amazing. So thanks for tuning in. If you haven't tuned in, go back and listen to episode 107. Super, super important.
Yes, definitely.
On top of that, we posted a video where I was under anesthesia.
You were coming out of the anesthesia when the video was taken. And mind you, I just want everyone to know that was not my idea to get you all loopy and take that video. You were really insistent on it.
So I was going in for a procedure. I'll tell you more about that in a second. But I was like, Danielle, if I get out and I'm with it enough, we have to do the invitation to the cottage from Heated Rivalry. And you were like, okay. And I got out and I was a little loopy at first, but I was like, I'm ready for it.
And I did not want to take it because I was like, these nurses are going to think I'm doing something over here and being ridiculous with you.
Danielle's always worried she's going to get yelled at.
Not even yelled at. They're just going to be like, wow, she's just taking videos of her wife.
Just exploiting her. But I was like, Danielle, feed me the lines. I'll do it. So I did it. So head over to our Instagram and our TikTok to check that out. I think it's cute.
It came out well.
With all of that, the procedure I went through was fine. It was a tiny procedure and I froze my eggs.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff.
You know, how old am I turning this year? I'm turning 35 this year.
That's weird to think about.
It is weird. We're still thinking about what family is going to look like for us, but thought it was a good time to at least get these eggies out because they're not getting any younger.
And how are you feeling now?
The amount of medication you take leading into the retrieval is a lot. And I am very sensitive to hormones. I'm very sensitive to any medication. So I felt it a lot.
Yeah.
And now even, what am I, a week and a half post? I still don't feel 100% myself. Like, it's been interesting to navigate. Also, you have workout restrictions and all of these things. So I don't like when my routine is messed up either. Yep. But at the end of the day, it's pretty cool. Science is amazing. And to have the opportunity to get to do this so that we can make decisions that are best for us is really, really nice.
It's really exciting.
It is. So that's our update. We'll keep you informed, but we did want to share why I was in the hospital.
Yes.
It was for good stuff, not scary stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
You've also been doing some science, Danielle.
Oh, yeah. I talked about, I think 2 episodes ago, I've been working on getting a sourdough starter working from scratch, and it is alive and well. Have I used it correctly yet? Not sure. My 2 loaves of sourdough that I've baked to date have both been pretty dense. So still figuring out how to make a good loaf of sourdough, but I've read online it takes practice and it takes time. So I'm working on it, but I did make sourdough pizza as well. And that came out pretty good. So yeah, I'm in my sourdough era.
Yeah, it's interesting that it's just a hard bread to work with.
I didn't realize how many steps there were and how much time you need to dedicate it to when you're doing it. So the timing of everything makes it a little difficult, and I'm always doing too many things at once.
Correct.
Later today, I'm going to try again, and I need to carve out 3 hours just to be around to do this and focus on it versus what my normal is do it and then run around and do a million other things, and then I feel like I miss steps or don't do them properly, so I need to focus on that.
I've been telling you that I think you're becoming, like, you are simultaneously a trad wife and a trad husband at the same time. You do a lot of, first of all, you work full time. So let's just start with that.
Yeah.
So nothing could be that trad. But then, like, you love to cook and now you're on this sourdough journey. And then on top of that, you've really been leading the way in traditional husband role of the basement and all of that good stuff. So I'm like, you're both trad wife and trad husband, and I am both modern wife and modern husband.
Yep, that pretty much sums it up.
And that's why we work.
Yep.
You're like, I don't know if we're working.
No, don't tell our listeners that.
But it is fun to get to try out your bread. it has been heavy.
Yeah.
The sourdough has had some weight to it.
I'm working on it.
But that doesn't stop me from eating it.
I mean, same. But I'm going to get there. I'm going to be a sourdough queen by the end of this year.
I have faith in you.
Thank you.
We'll post it once it's
yes
airy.
Yes.
Paul Hollywood, he would have some comments.
Yeah.
I try to tap the bottom of it, and I don't know what I'm looking for. But yeah, it's just, she's a thick lady.
I'm only 2 doughs in, what are they called? Loaves in. Give me a chance. I'll get there.
And the outside is delicious.
Yes. The crust has been great. It always looks great from the outside. Yeah. And then we cut into it and we're like, oh,
not quite.
We'll get there.
All right, let's get into the highlight reel. We have so much to talk about.
We have a lot of highlights to get into today. We have a deep dive to get into today. So let's get into it. Starting with, now we're a week past this, but because of the episode we released last week, we didn't get to talk about it. But the PWHL Takeover Tour did come to Denver a week and a half ago, and it was really fun. Once again, Denver showed out. We had a lot of people in the stands, a lot of great signs, a lot of youth hockey teams in the stands. Overall, just a really fun game and fun experience.
And this was the Seattle Torrent versus the Vancouver Golden Eyes. This was in Denver. We were there. We actually got media passes for that, which I'll talk a little bit more about. But 11,612 fans in Denver. We did not beat the record, which I was really hoping for. But we also need to take into consideration that the Denver Broncos had a playoff game at home on the same exact day at a very similar time.
The Broncos were still playing as the hockey game started. So for us to still get that many fans at this takeover tour for 2 teams that aren't even Denver based was pretty great.
The fan base was definitely leaning more towards Seattle, just being the US team. I'm a little bit bummed that there weren't 14,000 people, which is what we had at the previous takeover game, but it still felt crowded. There were a lot of chants going on. And we just had a really good time. It's just so funny now when we go to these things, we see so many people we know. We were walking around and it was just like, this is crazy. Just all the Denver gays out.
I loved it. We walked into so many friends and it was just fun. This is what happens when you build a nice community. And it was really nice.
For sure. Like I mentioned, we had media, so we got to walk in through the press area. And when we walked in, we were about an hour early to the game. We walked in and the Vancouver Golden Eyes were just everywhere. Which was really cool to see. They were playing spike ball. They were playing soccer.
Something with a soccer ball, yeah.
Yeah, like
keep away or something.
Either keep away or were they volleying it? Or well, I don't know what they were doing. But what were your overall impressions of seeing professional hockey players on the ground level for the first time?
I thought they were smaller than I was expecting.
Smaller in what way?
I just felt like I was bigger than them, shorter than I was expecting. And some of them were kind of tiny. Like I was expecting them to be bigger and they just weren't.
That's so interesting because we walked through the hallway, we saw them all, and then I was like, whoa, those girls are a lot stronger than I was expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you said you felt physically larger than them, which I think might be some of your own body stuff, because I was like, no, those girls' legs, they looked really strong. Yes, they were shorter. The other people that we've been around are basketball players. So like, of course they're shorter. But I was like, whoa, these are really, really strong women.
And I'm always amazed at how young these athletes are as well.
Okay, that's been becoming more and more in our faces lately of just, oh my gosh, these are tiny little babies.
And we're getting old, and that's half the problem.
That is 90% of the problem. So the game was great. The Vancouver Golden Eyes ended up winning 3-1. We got to do a pre-takeover tour press conference virtually, which was awesome. And then we did post-game pressers with both teams. It was really great to get to talk to them. It was great to be in that environment. And honestly, I just want to shout out the media team at the PWHL. Definitely, and this is no shade towards anyone else, but definitely the nicest media team to interact with. I don't know if that's a Canadian thing. I think it is. A lot of the people on staff are Canadian, but just so nice to interact with and be with.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was a really positive experience for us, and we had a great night there.
They're coming back. The takeover tour is coming back to Denver in March, and we will be there. And I am very confident we're going to have 11,000 is not a bad crowd. Let me just say that. But I want to be the best.
Yes, of course.
And so I want a ton of people there. So I hope Denver really shows out in March.
So if you're listening, get your tickets now.
All right, moving on. There is a new Women's Health, Sports and Performance Institute that was announced this past week with $50 million in funding.
That is great news.
We love that. We talked about this last week in our episode with Dr. Baith and Ellie of we need more dollars dedicated to women's health.
And this has been an ongoing discussion among people for years. What are we doing? Finally, let's start investing in women.
And we're seeing these pop up more and more. So this institute is focusing on challenges specific to women across age groups, including those who are postpartum and postmenopause, which we love, in an effort to prevent injuries and keep athletes playing longer. Clara Wusai, who is the co-owner of the New York Liberty, is one of the investors. The Sai family is always backing up women's sports, which we love to see. There will be a clinical component, a research component, and a training environment with education all under one roof. So I'm excited to see what comes out of this. We need to spend more time researching women, even though it's a more difficult thing to do.
I definitely think this is hugely important. We talk about women getting injured, and you talked about postpartum and how there's limited studies in these fields. So to finally get some more money to back these things, women are more than 50% of the population. It's about time that we start doing this.
Yeah, and if you're looking for a researcher, hit me up. I've got some clinical research background.
There you go.
I'd love to do it.
There you go.
All right, moving right along. Trinity Rodman is staying in the NWSL.
This was great news. I know we have friends who were super excited about this. We were super excited about this. It would have been a huge loss for the NWSL to lose her.
I thought she was going.
Yeah.
I really did. But she signed a record 3-year contract to stay with the Washington Spirit last Thursday. Reportedly, her annual salary is more than $2 million a year. That arguably puts her as the top paid women's soccer player, but we don't exactly know that. How was this able to happen? So this is using the new high impact player rule that the NWSL recently introduced. Some people are calling it the Rodman rule, which designates elite players to be paid significantly more than the standard salary cap permits. However, we do need to talk about this high impact player rule a little bit more. There's currently a grievance filed by the NWSL Players Association because they didn't bargain with the association to create this rule. The NWSL just created this rule and said, we're doing it. Then Trinity Rodman signed a contract using that rule. So there's a couple things at play here. The reason why this is somewhat of an issue is because there's criteria for the high impact player rule. And again, this wasn't bargained. The criteria that they use is very interesting. I would argue that it's not equitable at all. It favors European athletes. They use some criteria that would, like, Sam Kerr would not be eligible for the high impact player rule, which is interesting. Lynn Biondolo would not be eligible based on the criteria. So obviously with that information, some of the criteria is wrong. It is my understanding that regardless of what happens with this rule, that because the contract is the contract, Trinity Rodman will maintain her contract. But they do need to work out this rule a little bit more. And you can't just be like, hey, we introduced this rule, it's good for everyone. And it's like, no, that's why you have a union that you need to bargain with, because they make sure it's actually good for everyone rather than the NWSL telling its players this is what's good for you.
It'll be interesting to see how this impacts contracts moving forward. And I think the WNBA CBA will have an impact because more and more you're going to start seeing women athletes get paid more of what they deserve. And I just think that's going to impact leagues across the board in the US if they want to keep players in the US. So I'm curious to see what does happen in the future as we continue to navigate this.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think everyone kind of elevates each other as we go, which is what you want, right?
Yep.
More in women's soccer news. Crystal Dunn announced her retirement from professional soccer last Thursday. At 33 years old, she has won 2 major trophies with the U.S., the Women's World Cup in 2019 and the Olympic gold medal at the 2024 Paris Olympics. She has an NWSL MVP award, a Golden Boot, 3 league titles in the NWSL, 3 NWSL shields, and she's one of the most versatile players playing at defense, forward, and midfielder.
I've always enjoyed watching Crystal Dunn play, so I was definitely sad to see her announce her retirement.
Yeah, and just someone who's like, okay, where do you need me? Okay, I'll do it. And then I'll make the national team doing something totally different than what I normally do because I know how to be adaptable. And I just think that's really cool. She advocated for equal pay. She advocates for more Black women to get involved in soccer. And we've been seeing a lot of these retirements come through. Whenever it happens, lens, I'm like, okay, who's filling that gap? Like on top of her just pure ability, which is going to be missed, but who is filling that gap of activism? To me, there's still some room for that, right? I would love to see more players in the NWSL step into that just a bit more.
For sure.
So congratulations, Crystal Dunn. I hope you have the best retirement and we will miss you.
Yes, definitely. We are going to shift gears away from soccer and get into some basketball. We were so upset not to be at this event, but Philly is now unrivaled.
I'm still not over it. I'm so sad we weren't there with everything going on in our personal lives. And because so much of, to be very honest, this egg freezing and all of that it's not like a set schedule. So we didn't know where we were going to be or when, and everything's based off of periods, which is very, very annoying because we know that they can be tricky little bees. So we could not get to Philly.
Yeah.
And it's just been just to see everyone there. We had so many friends there.
Yep.
To see the environment. I'm still not over it.
Watching on TV was incredible because they played at Xfinity Mobile Arena in Philly. It was absolutely packed. There were 21,490 fans there, sold out crowd. I was like, these women must be nervous because the Unrivaled studio where they play is not that big.
It's small.
So their normal crowd is not that big. But for Unrivaled to go to a city that does not currently have a WNBA team and it just be packed out says so much about the growth of the sport, says so much about what Unrivaled is doing and how they market and how well they have done in 2 years. It's not even 2 full years into the league. And it's like, WNBA, take notes. Take notes,
or you're not going to have a WNBA season and we're just going to keep playing Unrivaled.
I hope not, but
like you make a great point. I think the capacity at Unrivaled in Miami is between like 800 and 1,000. They might have upped it this year to a little bit past 1,000, but 21,000, that means almost 20 times the amount of people. That's just crazy. It was record attendance for a regular season women's professional basketball game. And on top of that, it was record attendance for any event in Xfinity Mobile Arena's history.
And the Sixers play there.
It's just so cool.
Yeah.
On top of that, we get 2 great games. So let's get into this first one. Breeze versus Phantom. Phantom wins 71-68. This was back and forth.
It was definitely a fun game to watch. As a reminder, the Breeze is the youngest team in Unrivaled, and they've really been proving themselves throughout the season. And I thought they were going to pull this one off, but they just couldn't at the end. But Paige Beckers had 23 points and 6 assists, played great. And then for the Phantom, Kelsey Plum had 22 points and 4 assists. Being in Philly was very cool because there's several players who are from Philly or that area. And Natasha Cloud, for example, she literally was crying after the game, talking about the experience and what it meant for her to be in Philadelphia. And she's just so sweet. And just to see her talk about how much it meant to her, it was just so cute.
Every time I think I can't love Natasha Cloud more, then she does this heartfelt tear thing. And I'm like, oh, I love you even more now.
Yeah, very sweet.
And then we get into the Rose versus the Lunar Owls. And I was like, oh, this might not be a good game because the Lunar Owls have been struggling. They don't have Nafisa Collier. For this game, they didn't have Aaliyah Edwards, which meant Temi Fagbenle was their only true big. And I was like, oh no, the second game, it's not going to be as entertaining. The Rose also have Ka Copper, who is from Philly. People were going wild for her. And I was like, uh-oh, these Lunar Owls might go down real early, real fast. But boy, did that not happen.
I was worried too. The Lunar Owls are the team that I root for. They have Skylar Diggins, who everyone knows by now is my fave, and Marina Mabrey. Another one of my faves both went to Notre Dame, and I'm always rooting for my Notre Dame alum. And Marina Mabrey probably had the game of her life.
She really had other plans. The Lunar Owls ended up winning 85-75. Marina Mabrey had 4 47 points and 10 3-pointers in this game.
Both of those are records from Unrivaled. Earlier this season, Dearica Hamby had 40 points, and that was the first 40-point game in Unrivaled history. Marina had 27 in the first quarter, and I was like, she has to have 50 points this game. She was very close to 50. Talk about a state of flow. I'm not going to say I've been there, but I've had games where you just feel like you cannot miss. And after the first quarter, she was on the bench and they interviewed her and they were like, incredible first quarter. How are you feeling? What's going on? And she just said that the basket felt so big. She just could not miss. And she was taking ridiculous threes, and they were just going in and everyone was going nuts. I was like, oh, to be there would be so fun.
27 points, like you said, in the first quarter. That was also a record. She posted 3 records in the night. She was 18 for 28 for her field goals. She was 10 for 15 from 3. I thought it was interesting that they sat her at the beginning of the second quarter.
I was pissed. I was literally yelling at the TV. I was like, keep her in. You don't want to get someone who's in a groove like that out of their groove.
I just thought it was so interesting. I was like, did they do it because they wanted to interview her on the sidelines?
No, I was pissed with that.
Did they do it because they wanted to give her a break? But no, keep
the gas on. Especially they have not been winning. It's like you have someone who cannot miss, who's unconscious, and you take her out. It made no sense to me.
Yeah, I was like, is she on minutes restriction? But then the second half, she played all of the second half. So I was like, I don't really understand this. I know that the 3-on-3 game is a lot, but I was like, this girl is motoring.
Yeah.
She was crossing people up.
Yeah, that's the thing. It wasn't just her jacking up threes. Yes. Like, she was making great moves to the basket. She was just on another level that night.
And her energy is just so amazing. So she's not from Philadelphia, but she is from South Jersey. So you know she had people there that night. You also know there's something different of playing near your hometown. It just is awesome. And her attitude is just spunky and wild. She almost had a tiff with Shakira Austin because Shakira Austin gave her a bump.
That was bad. I was like, I love Shakira Austin too, but I'm like, Shakira, you... Marina literally crossed over half court, no ball in her hand, and Shakira just lowered her shoulder into her. And I was like, Marina almost lost her shit on her, but she just walked away and was pointing at her head like I'm getting in her head. And yeah, she held it together.
She did. Do you think that needs to go into her crash out jar?
No, not that. She had a technical earlier in the game, so that
I don't remember that technical.
Which she did not. She didn't remember either.
I don't remember it either. Do you?
Yeah, I remembered. Happened? I think it was because she was chirping at the refs over a call they made, and she was really pissed. I'm pretty sure that's what it was, but she didn't remember getting it at the post game presser when she was talking to Candace Parker and that crew.
And we've seen the crash out jar, but can you tell our audience what the crash out jar is?
Yes. Marina has a lot of crash outs, meaning she loses her mind during games, and whether it's with other players or at the refs, or she's talked about making comments to her coach, and every time she quote unquote crashes out, she decides how much money she's going to put in the jar. And
kind of like a swear jar.
Yeah.
And this is new.
She put it on Instagram, so you can literally see her whole post and spiel about it on Instagram.
And on Instagram, she had a tiny jar, and then they got her a bigger jar because they said that wasn't going to be enough.
She said she would donate the money to a good cause. And after this game, actually, she said she was going to donate the funds to Minneapolis for everything going on there, which I thought was awesome. And for her to say that on TV. So, you know, nothing wrong with a few crash outs if the money's going to a good cause.
I'm like, keep crashing out because we need more money there. Just really, really amazing. And we were watching and we were screaming. You were giggling like a little girl.
And I was slapping the couch, like punching the air every time she made a shot. I just could not believe it.
It was so fun to watch. And Philly is about to welcome a WNBA expansion team in 2030. And I think they really showed why they're the ones who are getting a team, which pains me to say because I want Denver to win everything, but yeah, they deserve it.
Yeah,
it's going to be a great environment.
We were like, well, can't argue this after they showed out like that. Yes. So good for them.
All right, we're moving along. Let's get into the Australian Open. I can't believe we're not talking about it until the finals, but we've just had so much going on.
Yeah.
So in the finals in the Australian Open, it was number 1 Aryna Sabalenka versus number 5 Elena Rybakina. In this Australian Open, the setup was different than any of the other Opens I've seen in the past. They actually had the coaches box on the court.
Interesting.
So that they were more eye level with the players. They were still like cordoned off, but they weren't with the fans, which I kind of like because one, it makes it easier for the players to get coached. And as a reminder, you weren't always allowed to coach in tennis, and now you can. So they brought them down because they did have them up in the stands because they weren't supposed to be giving any feedback to their players, but now that they can. And then when they win, it makes it easier rather than the player going up into the stands, walking around everyone, which you could argue is a little bit unsafe. Now they can just go directly to their coach's box and give everyone a hug who they need to give a hug to. But it does look strange on the court. But I was like, I wonder if other people are going to adopt this. Let's get into this match a little bit more. Rybakina takes the first set 6-4. Sabalenka takes the second set 6-4. They are incredibly evenly matched. Sabalenka is known for her powerful serve. She is known for pounding the ball against the surface she's on. And this was on, what is that called? Concrete? It's the same as the US Open. Not clay. Hard surface. This is on a hard court. That's it. And allows her to use her power. She's also very aggressive. She provides variation, meaning like she's always going to change up what she's doing, but power is what she's known for. And she's very outwardly visible. Like you always know how she's feeling, whether it's good, bad, or anywhere in between.
Yes, she wears her heart on her sleeve for sure.
And then Rybakina is one of the best servers in women's tennis. She's very rhythm oriented, meaning like she goes with the flow. She sticks to what she does best. And she has a neutral face at all times, but she is powerful. And so the two of them are similar in the sense that like both powerful first serves, they're going to get you moving. To see kind of two sides of the same coin play against each other.
Yeah.
And I want to be very clear that I don't think one person who wears their heart on their sleeve is better or worse than the person who's just like stone face all the time. Especially for women, we punish people who are outwardly emotional, and the person with a stone cold face, we're like, that's pretty awesome. But I want to be careful not to do that. And like I've said on this podcast before that I do think Aryna Sabalenka sometimes gets her emotions get the best of her. And I don't think being emotional is a bad thing.
No, absolutely not. As long as it's not affecting your play, right? Sometimes people need to know when to reel it in, but if it's not affecting your play and you can play through that, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and if it allows you to feed off the crowd, like that's amazing. So in this third set, Aryna breaks Rybakina early, and it's 3-0 in the third set. And I'm like, okay, Aryna Sabalenka is on her way. But Rybakina storms back to win 5 games in a row and breaks Aryna twice in that time.
Like pretty incredible.
Yeah, twice back to back. So the momentum definitely shifts. Rybakina, like I said, just stone face the whole time. Aryna holds her serve to make it 5-4 Rybakina. Now Rybakina serving for the match. She wins this match off of 2 aces in a row.
Wow.
When she wins, she gives like a half smile and a half wave to everyone. Just totally, okay, that's great. Sounds good. Yep, I just won a Grand Slam.
Where is she from?
So she is from Kazakhstan. She is the first person from her country to win a Grand Slam title, and this is actually her second. She won Wimbledon in 2022, but she hasn't won a Grand Slam since 2022. 4 years later, comes in and takes the Australian Open. It's pretty amazing, and her demeanor is just very funny.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know her as well. You don't hear her name as often in the tennis world, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and that is probably a little bit due to her subdued personality, right? Really cool to watch. She's not going to give you too much, and just was like, oh yeah, I won a Grand Slam today. And I'm like, wow, I wish I had a little bit more of that in me.
Yeah.
Lots of chill. We'll see if Rybakina can keep this going.
Yeah, it will definitely be interesting in other Grand Slams this year to see what happens.
Before we get into our deep dive, let's get into some updates for today.
Yes, starting with Run Club. We have Run Club this Thursday and every Thursday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time in Denver at the 99ers Sports Bar. If you listen to our podcast and share a secret word with the bartenders each week, you will receive 50% off your first draft. This week, the secret word is Philly.
Ooh, Philly, I like it. We also need to remind you to please rate and subscribe to our podcast. We create, produce, and edit the podcast ourselves. And your rating, your comments, your subscribing to us on all the platforms really goes such a long way to our growth. So if you want to support us, rate, subscribe, give us a positive review, and share this podcast with people you love. Thank you to everyone who has rated the podcast so far. If you send us a screenshot of your 5-star rating, we will send you a Women's Sports Weekly sticker for free. Okay, let's get into our deep dive for today. The Milano Cortina Olympics officially begin on Friday, February 6th. This Friday.
I'm very excited. I feel like it's been way too long since the Summer Olympics, and we are way overdue.
Curling actually begins today, and hockey begins tomorrow on the 5th, but it officially kicks off this Friday.
I always find that interesting, but definitely excited. It's like a little teaser before things officially get kicked off.
That's right. So let's get into our deep dive today, where we're going to talk about what the Olympics is going to look like and some of the sports.
Yes.
So this will be the most gender-balanced Winter Games in history. In the summer, I believe it was 50% or even a little bit more women versus men.
Mm-hmm.
In the Winter Olympics, it's still not 50-50, but 47% of competitors will be women, which is a record for the Winter Olympics. Of the 116 events, there are 50 women's events on the program, which is a record, and 12 mixed events. This means that the women will compete in, again, Winter Games record of 53.4% of all events.
We love to see it.
Yes. And 12 of the 16 sports at the Olympics will feature full gender parity.
Nice.
There will be 4 new women's events for the women. The first one is freestyle skiing dual moguls, luge doubles, ski jumping large individual hill, and ski mountaineering sprint or skimo sprint, which we just learned more about because our friend Brittany wrote a whole article about it.
Yes. The Winter Olympics are so interesting because there's so many, I feel like, more odd end sports and so many snow sports that a lot of people probably aren't as familiar with. But it's definitely a fun time to just dive into something and be like, what am I even watching?
And we'll get into a little bit more of some of those weird sports that I'm looking forward to. For the first time, men and women will compete over the same distance in cross-country skiing at the Winter Games. So the women's cross-country used to be shorter.
Which is so dumb.
It's so interesting to me that people complain and be like, oh, well, women do things less. They only play 3 sets in tennis. And it's like, who do you think made that rule?
I know. It's interesting because in ultra running, gender, and we talked about this even last week, and we've talked about it before, but gender means less and less the further the distance.
Yeah.
So for women to do less in a lot of things, it just doesn't make sense. Endurance-wise,
Yep.
we should be doing just the same.
Exactly. If not, you could probably make the
more
argument that maybe we should be doing more. But we didn't make these rules. And so when you're complaining, think about who made the rule in the first place and why they may have made it. And to give some perspective on all of these facts, women did compete in the first edition of the Olympic Winter Games in 1924, but they only made up 4.3% of competitors and only took part in figure skating.
Am I surprised? No, that's pathetic.
It's also worth noting that of the senior leadership for the Milano Cortina Games, 45% of that leadership are women, which is even a significant increase from Beijing in 2022. So something to keep in mind that if you want things to be more equal, you should probably have women in your senior leadership positions.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's get into some of the sports. This is my new favorite weird sport, I can already tell. So this will be the first time that women's luge doubles is at the Winter Olympics. The reason why I like this is because the luge, you like lay on a thing and you go down something. I don't know. Look it up.
It's probably really scary because they go so fast.
They go so fast. But for doubles, you lay on top of the person. Like you lay on top of the person on a tiny little board and you go down a tiny little track.
I would not want to do that.
But I do want to do it with you because it looks borderline sexual.
It looks scary.
And I want to know who would be on bottom and who would be on top.
Okay.
Tell me.
I don't know. We'd probably both fight to be on bottom because we both think we weigh more than the other. So that's what I'm going to say.
Would you let me be the bottom?
Maybe.
And then you would have to be on top, which I would argue that the top is probably more difficult because you don't have a steady base below you. You have a person's body below you.
Yeah, I think either way it's scary.
Do you think we should start training?
No.
We could start practicing in the house.
Okay.
You don't like this combo?
You can get the board set up and we'll practice.
We'll go down our stairs.
Yeah. And when we're very injured and can't do this podcast anymore, you could thank Carolyn.
Well, the way that our stairs are set up, we could probably open the front doors, start at the top of the stairs, and go all the way out.
We would not be well if we tried this.
So I'm very excited for women's luge doubles to debut. But let's get into some hockey. The major story for hockey will be Canada versus the USA. These two teams have faced each other in 6 of the 7 Olympic gold medal games, 23 out of 24 of the IIHF Women's World Championships, and 21 of 23 Four Nations Cups since the beginning of international play. So
Wow.
It's always these two in the end.
Yeah.
Canada currently leads this battle 106 to 86 in the history of the rivalry, but the US has been on a tear lately. So it's going to be very, very interesting.
Yeah, we need to step it up. I don't like that record. But
And-
Canada, I feel like they sleep, eat, and breathe hockey
Correct.
and maple syrup.
And maple syrup. And they're both taking different strategies. So Canada's team is a mostly veteran team, and the US team is young.
Interesting.
But the US is led by Hilary Knight, who has announced that this is her last Olympics. Just a fun fact about Hilary Knight, she dates Olympic qualified Brittany Bowe, who is a speed skater, and they began dating at the 2022 Winter Olympics.
I love that. Love a good love story.
We do love that. They were in the Olympic Village together during the COVID bubble, which makes me ask, what were they doing in that COVID bubble?
I don't know. Probably
Probably
not
breaking some
listening to the
protocol.
rules. Yeah.
All right, some notable stats about Knight's career. With the U.S. national team, she has won 10 gold medals at the IIHF World Women's Championship. That is the most ever by any hockey player, and she holds the tournament record for goals, assists, and points. She is a 4-time Olympic medalist, winning gold in 2018 and silver in 2010, 2014, and 2022.
It's really awesome to have that kind of experience on the team. We got to see her play at the Takeover Tour, and I just, especially for a young team, to have a veteran like that to lead the way who's seen it multiple times will be good. Obviously, you talked about Canada and the U.S. What other countries should we look out for in hockey?
So the top 5 seeds in order are Canada, the USA at number 2, Finland at number 3, Czechia at number 4, and Switzerland at number 5.
Ooh, Switzerland.
And you may be wondering why I'm saying Czechia, because I was wondering why I'm saying Czechia.
Yeah, I was going to question you, but I know you do your research. But tell us more.
So according to my limited research, Czechia and the Czech Republic are correct to say. We usually say Czech Republic, but the Czech government promotes Czechia as the official short name for the country. And I'm all about getting names right, so we're going to call them Czechia.
Okay, never knew that.
I also just want to point out that during the Takeover Tour, we spoke to U.S. national team player Kayla Barnes, who plays for the Seattle Torrent, and she's headed to the Olympics. And she shared how great it's been that the PWHL has been formed. At the 2022 Olympics, they did not have the PWHL. And just getting to play the best of the best all year round is just going to make the Olympics that much better.
Yeah.
There have been multiple players who say that this Olympics has a special energy to it, the potential for the most competitive play ever, because we have the PWHL. And so, yes, we're talking a lot about the US and Canada, but I have a feeling as the PWHL continues that we are going to be talking a lot more about these other teams.
Yeah, and go figure. Who would have thought another professional league would help with this?
For sure. Figure skating. Team USA is sending the dream team of figure skating, but they are calling themselves the Blade Angels.
I love that.
We talked about Amber Glenn, Alyssa Liu, and Isabel Levito in episode 105, so you need to go listen to that episode because we love all of them. But like we mentioned before, all of them are considered podium threats. It's considered to be the US's most competitive team since 2006, and they're looking to end a 20-year medal drought in women's figure skating. Oof. So we need it to happen. There's so many storylines that I'm invested in. I love it. In alpine skiing, we usually talk about Mikaela Shiffrin and Lindsey Vonn. So Shiffrin dominates the technical high precision events like slalom and giant slalom, while Lindsey Vonn is known for her high speed, dangerous downhill, and super G events. Oof. So although we talk about both of them a lot, they don't really compete against each other. Let's talk about Lindsey Vonn a little bit. She retired after the 2019 World Championship. She retired because she had chronic pain from years of elite skiing. But then in 2024, she had a partial titanium knee replacement, which allowed her to return to skiing pain-free.
People are insane.
Can you imagine?
No.
She made the podium 7 times this past season. The location of the Olympics at Cortina is really significant for Vonn because she likes that course. She has seen great success at the course. She's won 12 times there. But we also need to talk about that Lindsey Vonn injured her left knee after a fall last Friday during the World Cup downhill race in Switzerland. She posted on Instagram this past Saturday that she would not be racing in the Super G event at the World Cup. Lindsey Vonn did say that she will be competing in the Olympics.
It's pretty amazing and it's really sad. I saw that she got airlifted out of that race that she got injured at, and it's a scary sport. They are going at unbelievable speeds. I mean, we ski and I've gone, I think 40 miles per hour, and she's probably doubling that. And like, I always think when I'm going that fast, if I eat it right now, like I'm going to get seriously hurt. And I've seen videos of Lindsey Vonn falling and you just go down so hard. It's just scary, and I worry about them.
For sure. For Mikaela Shiffrin, who, as we said, does more slalom and giant slalom, this is a story about redemption. She is the most decorated alpine skier in history with 101 World Cup victories, 18 global medals, and 2 Olympic golds. But in 2022, she left Beijing with no medals after a series of DNFs in her best events. So she just got a case of the yips.
Yikes. It happens.
She has been working on rebuilding, but she has had 2 major crashes in recent seasons that have left her with severe injuries and PTSD. And again, like, you are going down a large mountain as fast as you possibly can with technical moves in between. And if you get a bad crash, I don't know how you don't think about it the next time you're going down.
Yeah. It's like getting in a car crash.
For this 2026 games, she said that she's focusing on slalom and giant slalom, where she's had most success in her career. So she's simplifying it, and hopefully she gets on the podium this year.
Yeah. I'm hoping for an injury-free season for all the athletes out there.
Everybody. I don't want anyone getting hurt.
Yeah.
You don't have enough opportunity in the Olympics. I want everyone to be okay.
Yep.
In half-pipe snowboarding, we have Chloe Kim, who's pursuing her 3rd straight gold medal in the half-pipe. She also had a fall, but this was in training right before the Olympics, where she tore her labrum, which is in your shoulder. And she said that she is going to be ready for the Olympics, but she won't be able to snowboard until right before.
Yeah, I did not think she was going to make it after that injury. So I'm really surprised that she is. And I know athletes put their bodies on the line all the time. So I worry, but I hope she hangs in there.
You might hear labrum in the shoulder and be like, well, in snowboarding, you just need your legs, right? But like when you're twisting in the air on half pipe, you need all of your body. And I worry about the amount of pain that she may be in.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it worth it?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we don't know what it's like to be an Olympian, so.
We don't. And there's reason why we don't. A torn labrum is a serious injury.
I know.
And she's going to be out there. I also want to talk about Mitsuki Ono, who is representing Japan. She's a 2022 Olympian. She has multiple World Cup wins, an X Games silver medal to her name. She also won bronze at the 2025 World Championships, finishing behind Chloe Kim and Sarah Shimizu, who's also from Japan. Both of these Japanese riders, Mitsuki Ono and Sarah Shimizu, will be making a run for an Olympic medal. So these are just some of the people you should have your eyes on in snowboarding halfpipe. Is there a sport that you're most looking forward to in the Olympics?
Yes, definitely the snowboarder half pipe and ski sports too. I feel like any ski snowboard related, but the half pipe just blows my mind, and the big ski jumps too. So I'm excited. How about you?
Yeah, I like the ski jumps when they're like little flying squirrels. That's awesome. I'm obviously looking forward to figure skating. I mentioned that a couple episodes ago. I'm so looking forward to hockey. And then there's so many interesting sports, like we said. I'm thinking of the biathlon where they cross country ski and then they shoot things.
It's so weird.
It is weird, but I love watching that because it's something that just blows my mind.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do any of it. So it's going to be a really fun Olympic Games. And we did not cover all of the sports that are going to be at the Olympics, but we're just trying to give you a little taste of the storylines to watch and what might be interesting.
They only come around every 4 years, so don't miss out on it.
Which takes me right into what I'm looking forward to. So on Thursday, February 5th, the United States will take on Czechia in hockey, women's hockey in group play at the Olympics at 9:40 a.m. Eastern Time on NBC and Peacock. As a reminder, the games are going to be held in Europe, so these times are going to be a little funky.
Yeah, for sure.
What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to NCAA women's basketball. Number 6 LSU will take on number 4 Texas tomorrow, Thursday, February 5th at 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN.
That is it for this week. We will see you next week on Women's Sports Weekly. In the meantime, watch women's sports and share the podcast with your friends. Rate and subscribe to the pod on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. Thanks for joining us.